Talofa lava, Mr. Speaker. This is a very good piece of legislation, and I rise in absolute support of it. In 2012, the government moved to improve the outlook for young people, particularly vulnerable young people who were beneficiaries. And there's been a bit of look at this over the years to see how effective it can be, and I think what we're starting to see is some good results for those young people who initially went on it, those who were single parents, young parents, and those who were at high risk of long-term welfare dependency. Now, I just think it's really important for us to clarify that when we talk about young people being at risk of long-term welfare dependency, this is not a judgment call. This is not a way of us looking down on them in any way, shape or form. Mr. Speaker, what I can tell you over a long period of time is if the government's having to spend a lot of money supporting you, it's probably because you're not having good outcomes in life. Generally, people who are needing that level of input, things aren't going well for them. And so, Mr. Speaker, we are absolutely aspirational for these young people, and that we want the very best for them. We want them to be able to get beyond simply being a welfare beneficiary long-term. We want them to be able to have education. We want them to be able to be in work. And that's why over this period that they're on, involved with the youth service and receiving these payments, for the 16 and 17-year-olds, absolutely education is the focus. And absolutely NCEA Level 2 is the absolute minimum that we want these young people to achieve educationally. But it doesn't have to end there. And if they want to go further, Mr. Speaker, they will be supported to go further. And yes, for 18 and 19-year-olds, the focus is work. Mr. Speaker, we don't want these young people to be trapped out of study or out of work or without qualifications. We want them to have the tools that they can, that will be useful for them to be able to achieve the kinds of goals that they want to achieve. I've been privileged over the last year or so to speak with some young people who have been involved with the youth service, and I've got to say, pretty excited by the kinds of things they've said to me, because they do have aspirations. They are setting goals for themselves. They don't just want to settle for second best. They want to get better educated. They want more for their children as they go forward, and I think that's great. And I think it's important that we continue, as we seek to expand this service through this legislation to another group of young people, to some slightly older ones, to ensure that they too will receive the mentoring, they too will receive the budgeting advice and the money management, and increase their skills to be able to give them an even better footing for life and an even better start for their children as they go forward. Mr. Speaker, we received 10 written submissions and 3 people presented oral submissions. And to me, when I look at that, over my experience of being involved and putting things out, when you get a low number of submissions, it's generally because people think it's a good idea. People don't tend to submit when they support things. They tend to only submit when they think it's a bad idea. So the low turnout of submissions that we had, I see as highly positive. I think we're going to see some really good results for young people going forward. I don't want to see young people languishing any longer than they have to. I want to provide the best that we can for them, and through the mentoring programs and the wraparound services from youth services, the number of extra people that are going to benefit from this going forward, I think we're going to see some really incredible results. We're going to see empowered young people ready to take on the world and move forward. With that, Mr. Speaker, I will conclude. For awhatai, manui le awhi awhi.